Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the CoronaCast. Joining me, of course, is Alex Galbraith and our guest. Because I said our guest for episode 3 was going to be my friend Sydney Miles, who's a grocery store manager and potentially got the coronavirus. And she supposedly was. I talked to her on Easter Sunday in the evening, and it was a great conversation. Then the lights started flickering because it was storming, and my file corrupted because I'm an idiot. So, we have Josh Pruett, who was my plan for episode 4, but hey, he's there for episode 3. So, Josh, thanks for
I'm here as the understudy.
the understudy. Well, I mean, it's appropriate because we'll talk to Sydney for episode 4, but Sydney's a manager at Natural Grocers. You've been working at a grocery store during your time back home since college has kind of gone online. So go ahead and talk about that.
Okay, so you're kind of cutting in and out here, but I'm pretty sure you just asked me to talk about the job. So, yeah. So right before I came back home, actually, my boss actually texted me, and he was just like, "Hey, can you start in 10 minutes?" And like I hadn't even gone back home yet. The store has just been on and off, kind of busy. At the start of the month, we got really busy again as well. And I'm actually working 40-hour weeks and trying to stay on top of the schoolwork at the same time. But honestly, like, I don't really know how to feel about it. I feel like a lot of people staying at home and probably aren't going out too much. But like, it's honestly surprising how many people are at grocery stores right now, especially since it's kind of where you really should be.
Yeah, and where do you you work at? Because you don't work at like a Walmart or Kroger. You kind of work at like more of a local place, right?
Yeah, so it's a like locally owned business. There's about I think 14 stores. It's called
I think we missed the name of it, but
Hayes.
Hayes. Okay.
Yeah, Hayes Grocery. Hayes Grocery.
So what what's kind of been different? Like what precautions? I mean, because since it's local, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah,
places like Walmart and Kroger have like stricter, kind of more like guidelines. But I mean, how have you guys kind of been different?
definitely. So like the here is actually I don't know if it's like this in Bryant, but the Walmart down here actually has like it's kind of like roped off and everything, and you making people kind of stay 6 feet apart, and you got loudspeakers. But where I'm working at, they check our temperature when we come in. So if we have anything over 100, we're not allowed to come in that day. They'll just send us home. And a lot of people wear masks and gloves. They're not requiring us to do that. So I haven't really been doing it just because it's kind of uncomfortable. Like, that sounds bad. Like, I should probably be taking more precautions. But I mean, I feel like for starters, like if I were to wear gloves, I'm probably gonna touch my face and stuff with the gloves on anyway. So I mean, I'm just kind of like washing my hands way more often than I normally would. And yeah, I'm not really wearing a mask either. I don't have anything to say about that.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. Just, I think that's interesting that they take your temperature for employees before they come in. I'm sure Kroger or Walmart are doing the same thing. I haven't heard that, but I think that's a really good
Yeah,
precaution.
I'm not sure what other places are doing. Um, I do know that, like, I mean, it is good for employees because you obviously can't do that for every single customer that comes into the store, and make sure that they're not spreading anything around either. I mean, there's really only so much that you can do. It gets really crowded some days, and I mean, that's just kind of how it is right now. I mean, I definitely feel like if there's any place that it's gonna get spread around the most, it's probably a grocery store.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's a place that people have to go to during this time, especially with a lot of restaurants and places like that being shut down or resulting just the takeout. For you, are you nervous at all working there? You work 40-hour weeks at this grocery store, and some days maybe there are a lot of people, some days they're not. But does that concern you?
Well, it didn't at first. When I first got back, there were no confirmed cases in Mississippi County where I live. And then I'm wanting to say sometime last week we got our first, and then as far as I know, it's about like 7 people now. But I mean, of course, there's also unconfirmed cases are probably spread around and everything. I'm not really that scared for myself as much as I am for like bringing it back home to my parents or something, just because I feel like they're pretty highly susceptible for something like that. But the crazy thing, me and my brother both work there. Me and my little brother. So I guess it's kind of a double whammy. The funny thing about the whole thing is, uh, in my household, this whole thing has changed none of our lives. Like I'm not at school anymore, and my little brother and sister aren't at school, but none of us lost our jobs. I literally came home from college and went back to work. Like my mom's still at work, my little brother's still at work.
So what
So yeah.
because you kind of talked about your parents and how they are probably more highly susceptible than like maybe average. So do they? You said your mom still goes to work. Have they done anything like maybe working at home, or is it just literally just normal?
Well, my mom works for the USPS. She's a mail carrier. So that's what she does. And then, like I said, my brother works up at the grocery store with me. And then my dad is at home pretty much all day anyway. Go out occasionally or something to get groceries or something like that. But that's really the only time that he leaves. And then my sister's pretty much staying at home as well.
Gotcha. So would you say overall that stuff like it is busier than normal, like when you kind of come home and work for the summer?
Oh yes, absolutely. Honestly, it was crazy the first day that I went back, but I actually kind of missed the bulk of it when it first started. He had told me that they got incredibly busy just at and then when I got back and started working, it kind of slowed down a little bit, and then the first of the month hit, and people come in with food stamps and things like, and then on top of people getting paid and all that, like it was just this huge rush. I genuinely can't even describe how busy we are during those times, and then obviously it's just it'll like die down some days and then come back sporadically. It's kind of random. Like we're not constantly busy, but we are constantly out of it. So like there's not like always customers just flooding into the store, but we're still busy every single day because we're constantly having to restock things. We get so much stuff in because people just come in and bulk buy everything.
Josh, do they put like a limit on things? I know like Walmart, Kroger limited people to this amount of peanut butter, this amount of toilet paper, whatever it may be. Do they do that at Hayes too?
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that we can't even get in. I know that somebody had told me that they're just not letting us order it because they're sending stuff to the hospitals and they're just not letting us order it. I don't want to say that's 100% true just because I didn't really get that like a source that I can like 100% confirm that, but it's likely to be true because we haven't had things like hand sanitizer and stuff in weeks. We just got like bleach in today. For the stuff that we do have, like we get like one brand of toilet paper or the single rolls and stuff, and we limit those to one per day per customer.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it needs to be personally. That's kind of a smart way to go. And so I guess tying all that together before we move on to a different topic, what's the one thing, maybe a few things that outside maybe hand sanitizer and stuff like you mentioned, is consistently out of stock and consistently something that y'all are having to restock?
I mean, honestly, just food. That people come in there and get toilet paper and stuff, but one thing that I've noticed is normally when we order food and it comes in on the truck and everything, we get it before it sells out. But now it's just somebody will come in and ask for something that's not on the shelf, and I literally just most of the time I'm just having to tell them like, oh, we'll get a truck in on this day or this day, and it'll probably be on that because we simply just don't have anything. Like we'll just sell out of things completely. Not like we'll be really low on and I come in like we're just like it'll immediately just sell out, especially cleaning supplies.
How
but food is big.
How You're good. You're cutting out a little bit, so I don't know exactly when to speak.
It's kind of what's happening here.
But how like understanding would you say like the customers like when you have to say like yeah we're out of this like a truck's coming in this day, like how understanding are they? More understanding than perhaps usual, or are they like more aggravated? Like what's their kind of temperament like?
I actually haven't noticed a difference customer wise. Like there are people that come in normally and are just understanding when you don't have something that they're looking for. And then there's people that even during this just get upset and angry. And I mean, it is probably frustrating because I know that a lot of people go everywhere looking for something and then they're sold out of it. I mean, I get it from my mom a lot too. Like she's constantly asking me and my brother to pay attention for when we get something in, so I can let her know so she can come get that or something like that. So I guess that is one advantage, is that I got the heads up.
All right, so be honest. Have you ever like maybe stored some things away to keep for the family?
When we got Clorox wipes in, I did hold off from putting those out on the shelf, or one of them anyway, because I wanted. That's it, because we haven't really gotten much else in anyway.
And then I guess one last question on that is, Brad mentioned maybe the temperament when you tell them that maybe you don't have something in stock. Is there any hostility or maybe some temperament there when they notice that some employees maybe aren't wearing masks or gloves, or maybe just even other customers aren't wearing masks?
There are honestly not even that many people that wear them. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's obviously a lot of people that walk around wearing masks and gloves. Really try to protect themselves while they're out, and understandably in a place like that. But there are also a great majority of people that don't care.
So how is the because this is a topic that I won't discuss the answer, but natural grocers and we've seen companies like Walmart do things where they kind of maybe give like raises or do kind of special things for their employees. I mean, it's a small business, so I mean, I wouldn't expect that much and from like a smaller business. But like, has there anything like been like that, like make like kind of an extra, I guess, not incentive, but like we know you're working through these tough times. Like, is there like a little bit extra help maybe from Hayes?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to like call out Hayes or anything, but I don't think anybody's gotten a raise or anything like that. And honestly, that's not something that I'm, too worried about. A lot of people are taking a hit anyway, but probably grocery stores. I will say that I am making more money though, because like I said earlier, I'm working a 40-hour week now. So I mean, full time there, student. I'm making my hefty sum of minimum wage.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, like it doesn't bother me that much. I mean, like as a smaller business now, for these corporations, like it's nice to see, but smaller businesses, I mean, yeah, I mean you can't really expect that much. I don't think it's a big deal. But you did mention 40-hour weeks, and you're doing online classes. We're in the same major. How much of like I'm sitting at home basically with all the time in the world, to do my homework and stuff. Like, how has it been more of a struggle for you?
Yes. So, like, I don't want to just, like, sit here and complain or anything, but I am thankful for a lot of the professors and stuff that have kind of recognized all that's going on right now. It seemingly keeps getting worse as well, with the tornado and then the shooting, and then I don't really know. It's just seemingly keeps getting worse around A-State and things that are going on. But I am very appreciative of a lot of the professors that have just kind of let off on a little bit of the assignments and everything. The thing that I think is going to hit me the hardest is just trying to get my portfolio stuff, because that's pretty much something I have to submit for just about every class, putting stuff on my portfolio and finishing that. And so I try to do a lot of my homework on the weekends, since I pretty much just work during the week. And then I don't want to like overbear myself work, and just that's all I do. So I'll do some work during the weeks and then just try to cram everything into the weekends if I can.
So not too much different from normal college, right?
No, not really.
No, I feel
Although
like
I do still wish I was there.
yeah, I think a lot of us do because it's definitely been just a culture shock. So I guess you could talk about that a little bit. We talked so much about what you're doing for work and then how you're trying to balance, I guess, your schoolwork on top of the work that you're doing too. Because I will say, not many college kids, especially, I think, are going home and working 40-hour weeks.
You're cutting out. I didn't hear anything you just said.
All right. Well, I was gonna say, I think there aren't many college kids that are going home and working 40-hour weeks. I think, a lot of us, like myself and Brad and plenty of others, we're here, yet we're still balancing our schoolwork, of course, but, we're not having an employed job right now. So you said you wish you were back at college. I think a lot of us do. Has being at home been a bit of a struggle at all for
you? I mean, like I said, I think it's just kind of pushing me on my schoolwork and everything. Normally when I'm up at the way that I kind of balance my time is, where I'm spending most of my time at work now, I'd be spending in classes and getting like actual schoolwork. And then where I'm spending doing homework now, I'd be focusing on more personal projects and building myself in my career, not necessarily things that are specifically for class. And I feel like that's just kind of been thrown out the window now. So all of my time pretty much just goes to working at Hayes and then getting classwork done. And so I don't really have time any actual personal growth or doing any for myself and for my career. I'm still kind of able to stay on top of everything, and I still have free time every now and then. So, well, like I said, I'm not like overbearing myself, but yeah, I mean, it pretty much the only thing that has kind of shifted majorly for me is that I don't really feel properly getting work done. I'm literally just doing the bare minimum for school, and I wish I had more time to, especially now, since I feel like most people have more time on their hands than in probably years. And so, I really wish that I was able to put a lot of that time toward personal development, things like that, but nevertheless, at least I am making money, because a lot of people are in a tough spot right now. And I'm thankful for that.
I want to touch on something, because you said you're kind of forced to do the bare minimum, and that's kind of a statement that we remember Dr. Merritt saying, do the bare minimum. I'll give you kind of the maximum from that. Yes. Dr. Pitts on one of our classes, she sent a survey and asked has this affected me? She's one of those people who I feel like has really been outreaching and seeing what everyone's situation's like. And I think the main thing about this is it's we're all in this together in a sense, but we're also not all in the same problem. Where I I have lots of time, so I can focus on this development and be creative with podcasts like this. But meanwhile, you're not able to do that. How have you from your experience? I mean, we have a lot of similar classes. Have your professors been kind of more chill in terms of you can do the bare minimum, and I'll understand that because the situations we're in are so just versatile?
Yeah. So, like you said earlier, we have a lot of the same classes and everything, being in the same major. There are some professors that have actually just after everything that's happened have just sent out emails, and they're just like, oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and finalize grades for the semester, and if you don't like your grade, then you can talk to me and we'll work something out, and I'll give you another assignment or something like that. So that helps a lot, because my grades pretty good right now. I'm in good standing in pretty much all of my classes, and if my professors were to just finalize all the grades right now, I'd be perfectly. And then, I mean, I'm not gonna I don't really know what word I was looking for, but there are some professors also that I feel like just are piling on extra work, since we're not able to do things that a lot of the hands-on projects that we would normally do and while we're actually at the school. and they're just kind of giving extra busy work so that they actually have grades to put in, and it's like I understand, but it is kind of annoying because first of all, it's not on the syllabus. It's things that are being added last minute, and I'm one of those people that tries to stay organized. So I put everything on my calendar at the beginning of the year. I go through the syllabus, see everything that I got to do, and I'm like, okay, I know that this is coming up eventually, and we'll send out reminders and stuff. I don't just completely stay on top of everything. Like now, I'm getting email like 30 emails a day or something like that for like when this first started. Not necessarily anymore. I would literally just come home from work and just read all my emails and go, okay, this is what I got to do. Just write it all down and make a little checklist of things that and it's kind of let up now because I've actually just completed most of it. So I'm still at least once a week or something, I'll get another email like, okay, now I got to do this, and I just wish that I had all this ahead of time. And so as soon as I think I'm caught up on something, I'll just have another assignment.
Yeah, that's very understandable. And like you said, I think we all agree, especially within the media department, there have been a few teachers that have been very gracious to just end class altogether based on the grade that you have. But I have had a few that have, I just like to call it busy work. Like you said, they're kind of given extra work that we wouldn't have been doing anyway. And I get also considering the circumstances.
It is understandable. Especially since most people are just sitting at home. I'm not necessarily calling it out. It is making it a little bit more difficult. And I think that somebody said, I don't remember exactly what it was or who said it, but I was reading something from a student on Facebook earlier today, and they had just kind of made a point about it as well, that with everything going on, I think professors just need to be a little more understanding. And then obviously Dr. Merritt, I read that whole article, one of the best articles I've ever read. Not to like go all out or fanboy or nothing, I don't know, but that was a really good article, and she made a lot of very good points. And I genuinely think that there just needs to be some slack cut. I do get that a lot of people are sitting at home and getting work, and there are a lot of people that are also struggling. It's really hard for them to do stuff, and especially in the media department where some professors are even still required to submit things that a lot of students don't have access to. Like, if anything, I'm actually pretty lucky. Like, I have the Adobe Suite on my computer. I have access to a lot of technology that a lot of other students. So
yeah, I've seen a lot of people on the A-State app. I kind of looked through because I saw someone said they're withdrawing from the university even though they're one class short because like their professor like isn't letting them make up an assignment during the power outage that like she was in. And so there are some professors that are still pretty bad, which I mean I think we're pretty lucky in terms of media too, because a huge portion of our major is actually getting out into the field and filming stuff and all this stuff and doing interviews where we can't do that at least normally, and so that would require such a change. And I do believe we have a pretty good group of professors all in all, but yeah, I'm glad I am not a different major where these people are having these problems. And I emailed Dr. Merritt about this because I told her about all these things and do you have anything to have you seen this happening with your colleagues, and what do you think of it? She hasn't gotten back to me. I'm not sure if she does, if she will, but if she does, I will probably put that in a statement. I'll relay it in the podcast. She will live forever in CoronaCast, especially since Josh said he's a fanboy basically. So
well, I actually didn't watch the last The Understand when you had her on. Like as soon as I saw that you guys had her on, I was just like, I don't know. This is kind of cool that you guys got her to get on and talk about it. I didn't actually watch the whole thing. I got about 5 minutes into it and then got distracted and never went back and finished it. But I think she probably just. I'm assuming that she talked about most of the main points that she made.
Yeah, she kind of clarified some things. Yeah, I mean, there are some things that kind of because that I think the way she said she wrote the article is, she kind of like woke up and was like, I'm writing it. Like she just felt like tons of passion. It's very emotional because you could tell there were some words that were not particularly choice in them, but it got a point across. I mean, she used them, I feel like, strategically. Even though, I put a screenshot of like one of the pull quotes that had a curse word in it. Had to censor it.
Yeah.
So, but whatever, you gotta do what you gotta do. So,
there's something to be said for heat of the moment, a little bit of passion thrown in there. There's something to be said for that.
It's
you really do need to say in that situation.
Yeah, and so
I will say that. Well, go ahead, continue.
No, I mean I was about to go to a completely different topic, so you can close it up.
Oh, okay. Well, I will say that I do think the pass-fail system that a lot of people were expecting is a little different from the credit-no credit system was put in place at school. And I guess I don't really want to dive into it too much unless you guys want to. But I don't know. It's not really the same thing. Not really what I had envisioned as far some things go, and it seems kind of meaningless.
Well, and for me, like the way I interpret it is, I feel like it's more lenient than a pass-fail system because if you get no credit, does it actually fail you? Like, does it affect your GPA, or you just not get credit for it?
I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it feels a bit more lenient.
You get credit for the hours, but it still doesn't affect your GPA.
Yeah, so overall,
but one of the big things to me, and I could just be interpreting this wrong, I did go to the FAQ that was posted in the email that Dr. Dampus sent out. But one of the things that was concerning me is just that it seems like it still affects your scholarships and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point where it just seems kind of meaningless to me, because unless you're just like an honors student, what's the point in protecting your GPA if it's not to keep money, like to keep a scholarship? That seems like the whole point to me. Like, if I was still going to lose my scholarship, then I don't really care if my GPA tanks. At least that's my point of view. I don't really know how other people feel about that. But, yeah, I mean, like if my grades were to suffer, which I don't think mine will personally, I'm just thinking about somebody's that might, if my grades were to suffer significantly from this and I lost a scholarship over it, but my GPA stayed the same, it seemed kind of meaningless.
That's fair. That's a fair point. I mean,
it's like just seems like false effort.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. And I think, at this point in the year, when this came out late March, early April, you kind of know what your GPA is going to be like. You kind of knew you were either doing well in your classes or you weren't. And I think at this point in the year, it's probably a little late to either start becoming a really good student, or, if you're this far in, you're probably not going to start becoming a bad student either. So in terms of your grades, I think, one perk obviously is for someone that maybe had a decent GPA or was borderline on something. If you were struggling in a class, you could just take that non-credit option and not worry about it. Because I've thought about that. I probably won't accept that option because, as a lot of us are, we don't need that. Whether I get an A or a B or even a C, it's not going to affect my GPA that much. If I was maybe in a D or an F range, then maybe I'd strongly consider, just to prevent me losing hours or to prevent my GPA from really getting affected. And then that, of course, may be affecting some scholarships as well.
Yeah, because my thought process here is that if you were one of those borderline students, like you were saying, let's say that I had an A in all of my classes, and then because of this, I ended up with a B in 3 of them or something, and it dropped my GPA just below that scholarship requirement level. And so now my options are keep my current grade and keep the and lose my scholarship, or take the other option and my GPA stays the same, but I still lose my scholarship. It just, I don't get it.
All right.
But like I said, I definitely could be misinterpreting something there. I didn't really follow up too much with it other than the FAQ, and the whole thing just seemed kind of confusing to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I personally, I didn't put too much, true care into it, I feel like, because Yeah, I think I'm at a point where I'm decent, like in terms of my classes, and with me, I'm set to graduate like next semester, like in the winter anyway. So GPA is kind of getting to the point where it doesn't matter as much for me. But yeah, I mean, it does matter a lot to a lot of students, and so yeah, it's I I definitely feel like personally, like since we're all in different kind of scenarios, and I know you guys are like I'm ahead of you guys in terms of graduating. So
Yeah.
it's gonna affects you guys more than it does me. So I can definitely understand you guys being more concerned about it than I am. But
I know. Go ahead.
I was once again about to turn the subject again, so you can go
Sorry,
ahead.
it literally just keeps cutting out for me, and I keep thinking you're done talking. I'll just say something. Sorry. I was gonna say, I know that when we first got back, Taylor had said something about that because he only has a semester, and yeah, I kind of feel bad for a lot of those students that are put in a predicament now where they're about to leave school and they got to go find jobs, kind of face the real world, and it's a stressful time, especially when you can't kind of finalize everything that you had plans to get done as far as a portfolio and a resume, and a lot of the work that you were about to cram into this last semester. It's definitely a stressful time for people.
All right, well, to talk about something that, well, not stressful for like the nation as a whole, but it was stressful for one man, and that was Alex Galbraith, because last week his episode of Wheel of Fortune that he recorded back in like January or February finally dropped. And well, Alex, I just wanted to ask you about your experience. I just want to hear about the entire, like, what it's like to be on like a game show.
Yeah, well, I didn't know we were bringing that up today, but thank you very much. But no, it's cool. No, it was a good time, Brad. It was yeah. We went back out in February. It's like February 6th. So I think there was like exactly 2 months between when I filmed in Los Angeles to when it actually aired in April, and just the entire process is so complex. I think a lot, obviously different game shows are different. If you went out to The Price is Right, that's random. You get randomly selected from the crowd. But for a show like Wheel of Fortune or maybe something else, long application process, long audition process. Because the first time I even wrote my name down to be considered was back in November down here in Little Rock. So it took about 4 months for me to get from November to February just to film. 6 months total from the time I first put my name down to when it aired. And when you get out there, I was in the studio that day at Sony Pictures from 7:30 in the morning to 6 at night. So I was there for almost 12 hours. And unfortunately, they filmed 6 shows in one day, and I was the 6th show. Of course, that's how it would fall. And so you're there, and they're prepping you. I'm getting my makeup done, I'm getting my hair done. Things I've never done before. Things I probably should get used to if I want to go into this field. But one thing I tell a lot of people is the studio there, where they actually film, is so small. I think a lot of people don't know that. Is the wheel super small, the board super small, the audience is relatively small. Like, there aren't as many people there as you see on TV, or you think they kind of portray on TV. So they do a great job of making everything look bigger than it really is, which I thought was really interesting. And then they did a great job of coaching us up, trying to teach us everything that we needed to do. And we spent probably about 30 minutes practicing spinning the wheel at one point, because there's a certain way you have to spin it. Insane. So many things that go on behind the scenes compared to just, you watch it on TV on a normal night, you're like, oh, 3 people got chosen, they flew out there, they played, and that's it. And there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes.
So let's talk about your performance.
Well, the performance, Brad, could have gone better.
P, Alex, really P.
It could have gone better. I am not disappointed in it. I wish it had gone a lot better, but I'm extremely grateful for everything that I got to do out there. Happy that I got to take away $5,000 with it. I can finally say that now. I can finally tell people that. So, better. If you go out there and if I had gone out there and just been silent the whole time, not done anything, I would have gotten But after taxes and everything, that's pretty much nothing. So got out there, escaped without the bare minimum, was able to win a couple of puzzles, got $5,000. So I'm super happy and grateful for that. Had an awesome time, but wish it should have and could have gone a little bit better.
Man, I mean, like, because I missed that episode. Josh, did you watch it?
Yes.
See,
I watched it live.
I need to go back and I probably need to go back and watch it. But then, like, after, because I remembered, like, at 6:50, like 65, like, right at the end of the episode. So I was like, crap. And so I went out into the living room and I was like, hey, Alex is on Wheel of Fortune. By the time we turned it on, it was like the girl who, like, made it to the final round, whatever.
Right.
So I was like, dang it, we missed him. And then I was looking at the group message and, like, you guys were roasting him. Was it answer to something, Panic at the Disco or something? Was that what it was?
No, well, all right. So there was one. The second toss-up was, if that's what we're talking about. One of them was dance contest, and so the first guy did, I think, like dance concert or something like that. And I had my mind set up like before he even buzzed in, he beat me to it that it was disco. Like I had it, like I was like, that's disco, and it wasn't. It was dance contest. I was gonna say disco concert, but I was incorrect. So that was one of them, and then one of them I butchered just a letter. I just kind of got up there and choked. I just, it was, I think like Rustic Cabin in the Woods or something like that. And I guessed a P at one point. Should have guessed a B. The problem is, one thing too, is you get up there and as soon as you initiate that spin, when you grab the peg to spin it, you have to know what you're going to do when it stops spinning. And so the whole time, once you're done spinning, or even when someone else is spinning, you're watching that board constantly, trying to figure out what it is. You're not really focused on what the other contestants are landing on. You just hope you get a chance to go again. And so after I got that, I was focusing, and then I guess I focused a little too long, so he was like a letter. So I looked over at the letter board and just kind of said the first one I saw, because I kind of blanked. So, that was totally a choke on my part.
So is it just like pressure? Like I mean, because you're someone who doesn't really feel that much pressure, I feel like, especially in front of cameras and stuff. I mean,
no, yeah, and honestly, the whole time I was up there, I never felt like that nervous. Because I mean, those toss-up rounds are some of the tougher ones to so I got 3 of those. I got 3 of the 5 of those. It's just once you get going, I think the pressure got to me a little bit because, you've never seen that much money, like you've never had that much money in your possession at one time. So when you're laying on the wheel and you've accumulated all this money that you can't get until you start, then you start to sweat it a little bit because you're like, I can't screw up, because if I do, I won't get this money. And that's where you start to really feel that pressure coming on.
I always thought. You go ahead, Josh. I've been talking a lot.
I was gonna say it's not like playing the game on the PS4, is it?
Yeah, buddy, not even close. Not even close.
I mean, maybe I psych myself up because, like, when I think about it, like, I feel like if I was there, like, I kept telling myself, like, I probably wouldn't have thought of the money. Like, I wouldn't be there to win money. I'd be there to win in general. But sure. I can see how once you get that moment, you're like, well, okay, wow, we're actually playing for real money. And then your mindset kind of flips. Was that kind of like, did you think you were going to go in there like, I'm just going to play, I'm just going to compete? And, like, because I feel like that's initially, like, I would feel the competitive drive to win, not necessarily thinking, oh, this is like $15,000 that's up in the air right now.
Yeah, well, that was obviously my initial goal, was just to get up there, and I was like, maybe if my other 2 contestants weren't good and I won the round to get to the bonus round with $5,000, so be it. And if I didn't get there, if I didn't win the bonus round, I can say I still got it. That was the initial reaction and my initial goal. And then as time went, and another thing that kind of psychs you out a little bit too is I mentioned I was the last show. And so I was there for almost 12 hours, and I watched 5 other shows go through, all of which were part of College Week. My show was not part of College Week, so my puzzles weren't associated with like college things like the other ones were. So that definitely kind of played on your mind a little bit, not only because you were focused on certain puzzles, but because you were, psyching yourself out for probably about 6, 7, 8 hours. You were just anxiously awaiting to get up there. So, but yeah, I think you're exactly right. I wanted to win, and then when I got up there, it was just like, when Pat says, "Oh, you've landed on a $3,500 wedge," you're like, "Holy crap! That's $3,500." That and I ended up.
You hit it twice, didn't you?
Do what?
I said you hit it twice, didn't you?
Yeah, I hit it twice. So I mean, I think at one point I had over like $17,000, I think, in just one round.
That was the one where you guessed P.
No, it was not. No, that was not. Thank you very much.
Which one was it then?
The P was the first puzzle, and I didn't have that much on that round. The one where I butchered it, and it had a little over 17 grand. I don't even remember what that one was, but I think I guessed a vowel, and it wasn't up there. So I would have kicked myself more if I'd had that much money and guessed the P on with that type of money.
I feel like I don't even know exactly how not Game of Thrones. Well, I was gonna say Game of Thrones, Wheel of Fortune works, and so it's so you had 17 grand. If you don't finish the puzzle, do you not get the money?
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't solve that puzzle, you don't get the money that you've accumulated. So you could spin the wheel the entire time and get down to one final letter, which I don't know why you do that without solving, unless you just didn't know it. But you could get all the way to one final letter, have $20,000 to your name, and then if you guess a wrong letter, that's the last one, or you spin one more time and you get bankrupt, or whatever, you just lose all that money. It doesn't happen. And then the person next to you solves the puzzle, and they get whatever money they had. So you've got to be able to escape the round to keep what you earned in that round, and that's definitely it's tough. That's definitely frustrating.
Yeah, I bet. So what was final question about this? So the recording's finished. Actually, probably not only that, because this girl from Towson, was that what it was?
Yeah, Towson. Yeah,
Towson. Yeah, she goes to the final round. You kind of go off stage. What's your mind like? What's your reaction? How are you feeling?
At the moment, man, I was kicking myself the whole way through. I mean, I was just beating myself up pretty hard, just because I was like, man, I the same way I feel now. As much as I loved the experience and was happy about it, and still thinking I still won $5,000. That's great, but at the same time, you were like, God, that. I could be the one of the bonus round right now if I'd actually done better. So definitely the mindset was a little rough. It was eating at me a little bit. But then getting to see everybody afterwards, all the other college kids I had met over the course of the day, talking with them, some of which I did better than. So that was kind of refreshing as well. All right, well, maybe I wasn't as bad as that guy or whatever. It was just kind of a mixture of emotions, definitely walking the studio. And another thing, too, is, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I know I'll never get to do again. So kind of leaving, taking one last look at the studio, knowing, I'm not going to be back as a contestant, won't be back as an audience member. Soak as much in as you can before you kind of walk out those doors.
I have one, actually, so that was my final question about Wheel of Fortune, but I have one question about LA. Actually, I'll do two. I'll do the stupid one last. But
great.
When you were there, you got to go to the Lakers game, and this was shortly after Kobe Bryant's passing. What was that like?
That was truly unbelievable. The first thing I will say is that the Staples Center is probably the nicest arena in any sport that I've ever been to. Just truly amazing. But you're right. It was shortly after he passed away, only about a week and a half, I think, since he had passed away. And what was so cool about it is, it had been a little bit of time. When it first happened, the Lakers had their home game, and they had the courtside seats with his jerseys on it. They didn't have that there. But it was random points of that Laker game, regardless of what the score was, regardless of what the setting, people just started chanting Kobe. And there was no reason for it. It wasn't like they had told people to do this or there was something on the screen. It was just middle of the game, Kobe chants would start. And that was just so surreal to me because, he meant so much to that city, meant so much to that team. And you could tell just the amount of people. LeBron James is now the star of the Lakers, but there were probably more people in that arena that night wearing or buying or donning something related to Kobe Bryant than there was of LeBron James. And that was just surreal.
Josh, do you have any questions about LA for Alex before I hit my final question, which will shock the world?
Not really. Go for it.
All right. So, Alex, we have both are pretty well versed on this application called Tinder. And when I was in New York City, I was, searching Tinder for New York. It was pretty cool. I didn't get many matches. I think I got one. No one in New York City likes an Arkansan. But how was it? Did you use it in LA, or did you even think about it? Are you a better person than I am?
I never even touched it. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry.
Well, however, if you didn't know this, I don't know Josh, do you still have a Tinder, or did you delete it?
My account's not active. No, I honestly hate it.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, it's
Like-
pretty terrible.
Like it was fun in New York, but I don't know.
I think doing it in an area like New York or Los Angeles would be kind of cool. Like, just to see, you know.
Well,
to see
it was interesting.
You know,
It was interesting in New York because you could just endlessly swipe, but I don't know. I think that was like the a lot of the excitement. I don't know. I just don't like dating apps. It's so
Alex,
Yeah.
do you still use it a lot, Alex?
No, I got rid of it actually.
Dang it. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, because right now, if for people who don't know, Tinder has their passport feature, which is usually locked behind their like paid premium gold service, which is like $15 a month. Like they have a passport feature where you can pick where you want to swipe. So you can be living in Little Rock, but you can set your location to be Los Angeles, so you can check out people in Los Angeles, and so that's free. That's free until the end of the month. And like I know of a lot of people have been using it. And I don't know, like I really did, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like there are a lot of beautiful, amazing people in Arkansas, but New York City was fantastic.
It's just a different breed up there.
It was fantastic. It was something else. Everyone felt was like so elegant, but also so stupid. It was such a great hybrid. I don't know. I think this is gonna be the first clip I release where I like take a clip out of this podcast and like upload it by itself. So I'm like, you may not want to listen to the whole hour of this, but here's 5 minutes where Brad talks about Tinder.
I like this a lot. I like this whole discussion right now. Brings back memories of the 5 minutes till done or whatever. No, you didn't do Tinder. But
No, I did. Yeah, I did.
You didn't. It's good to. I love hearing your advice and your experiences with the app.
No one should ever take my advice. That's the thing. Like the fact that I did 5 minutes till done on Tinder, like if it's somewhat like cool, because most of those tips were terrible. Like it was like because I said don't compliment the woman or whatever because you're feeding into her ego. Like that. Like I was memeing. Like I was straight up memeing on that time of the show. And what made it worse. And what made it worse is someone Snapchatted me. I think it was Jacob Keene. He was in the Rental Center working out, and he sends me a picture, and I'm on the TV, on ASU TV, like on the TV channel, and it's the Tinder episode. Like, why did Galen Perkins, ASU TV advisor, put that on there?
Oh my god.
I'm just saying, man. I am making shockwaves through Arkansas State University. So many people hate me, but it was so worth it.
Not the good shockwaves.
Hey, bad publicity is good publicity. What can I say?
Any exposure is good exposure. So
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Oh god. Yeah, I guess maybe if I ever go travel again, maybe I actually will take your advice on this one.
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like if I keep going, I have this problem where so if I start talking about something stupid, like it's like a snowball effect. So I just keep becoming more stupid and stupid. I mean, I always remember this conversation like me, Alex, and Bailey had at the beginning of I think the fall semester, and I literally revealed all my life secrets to them, which I should not have revealed, but
I had a great time, and I want you to know your secrets are safe with me, Brad. So.
Yeah, and everyone
Thanks.
else on Facebook.
Yeah, so that's my thing. I'm way too open. like if I know of you and I don't hate you, I'll probably let you into my Finsta. That's just the way it goes. Like, I won't throw my secrets out there, but if you ask, whatever. Yeah.
I think that's very admirable, Brad. I think you're an open book, and that's great.
I can't wait to get canceled. Anyways, I think it's a perfect way to...
If it makes you feel any better, I feel like I've actually just kind of trash talked a lot of people this entire show.
I mean, I could go on trash talking people, but I mean, the thing is, it can go the same way. Like, I mean, I think there are a lot of people who trash talk me. Like, I just feel, I constantly feel like there are people trash talking me behind my back. Like, you know how, like, I feel like a lot of people have that kind of fear. And, like, you know, like people, like, of their friends and people talking behind their back. I just assume it's fact. Like, I just assume people are talking behind my back. And that just makes it a whole lot better. Because you just stop caring. Like, it's alright. Like,
I guess, yeah. I mean, people are going to.
Yeah, so, especially with me, I mean, like, I would talk about me behind my back. So, I'm...
Oh, of course, then, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. Alright, well, before I go, like I said, I feel like this is the perfect way to end. Before I get way too out of control. Do you have any final words, guys, before I, cancel the show forever?
Well, I will say this has been a fantastic episode, starting from a...
I don't know about that one.
I think this has been the best. Yeah, serious note at the beginning to now, and I think this is great. I think it's been awesome. If you want to hear more about life experiences and advice and tips, please come back for episode 4.
I mean, like, I can't say it'll come from me, but maybe I should do that. I think I should just have a story time with Brad, and I think
it'd be a good intermission. Like, you take a small break, 5-minute story time with Brad. I think it'd be perfect.
I think we've got ourselves a hit here.
I think we do too.
All right, Josh. Any final words?
I guess just going back to what I was saying a minute ago. Not hating on anybody, just kind of, giving my opinion on. I don't want a lot of my words to be misconstrued, I guess. Don't hate my school, don't hate my job, but Jesus Christ, leave me alone.
Did you just say, because you cut out, which, I mean, did you just say, and I quote, Jesus Christ, leave me alone?
That's not what I meant.
I thought that's what you said. I thought you said just Jesus Christ, leave me alone.
Yeah, but like, Jesus Christ was more of an onomatopoeia.
No, I'm not talking about like no. I thought you were saying like just please leave me alone. Like don't come after me. I thought that's what you were saying, but you said yeah.
So yeah. Like, yeah.
I just pointed at this little. Is that even Jesus? I think it's yeah. That's a Jesus. That's a Jesus statue behind.
Just cut this whole thing out. Just cut this whole thing out.
This is going in. This is staying in. Whatever. Happy Easter. We gave Jesus a shout out. And
happy belated Easter.
Belated Easter. If you're watching this Tuesday on my YouTube channel, like it, subscribe. I may need to make an old YouTube channel for CoronaCast. But regardless, if you're watching on ASU TV, hopefully this doesn't get taken off because we mentioned things that tend. I mean, it's Galen Perkins. Everything like I could kill someone and that would go in here. Let's be real. Like that's the way it could go. Anyways. That's Josh Pruett. That's Alex Galbraith. I'm Brad Brewer. I might not be back next week. You don't even know. I'll see you next time. I'll see you next time. Episode 4 of CoronaCast with hopefully Sydney Miles, unless the file gets corrupted again. All right? Cut!